G'day folks, Pat Callanan here. Well, I am at the Ford Design Centre in Melbourne for what is, I believe, the most significant vehicle, not just of the year, but of the decade, if you are into four-wheel drive touring, fleet management, or towing and caravanning. And here it is. You're looking at the Ford Ranger Super Duty. It's taller and stronger than any Ranger that's gone before it, and more capable as well. It's even as wide as a Ranger Raptor. It comes in super cab and dual cab configurations, and you can pretty easily tell that it's different by that embossed bonnet and fatter flares. Now, the big news for the Super Duty is the statistics, and your mainstream car journalists will talk a lot about this. The vehicle has a 4.5 tonne towing capacity, a 4.5 tonne gross vehicle max, and a whopping 8 tonne GCM. So that's the gross combination mass of what your entire four-wheel drive and whatever you're towing can weigh. And all of those stats are really, really impressive, and some of them have been released a few months ago, but it's the detail that's just been released today that really gets me, and I think will get the entire four-wheel drive and caravanning community really excited. Firstly, let's look at the off-road capability of the Ranger Super Duty. We have not one differential lock, but two. So this is front and rear locked straight out of the box. We're running on 33-inch all-terrains and on some pretty serious rims. So it comes out with steel rims initially, but you will have these pretty cool looking Super Duty alloys available down the track as well. You'll also notice that it's got an 8-stud pattern there in the hub, and that's because the entire underside of this vehicle has really been beefed up. The axles, the control arms, the differentials, everything has been absolutely beefed up to cope with that additional load carrying capacity, towing capacity, and it is built really for reliability and durability. Because this vehicle wasn't just built for the caravanning and four-wheel drive market, as much as we love that stuff, it was built for the fleet market as well. In terms of efficiency, when you are running those big weights, there's a lot to talk about. You've got these nice big voids in the grille here for improved cooling performance. They've even beefed up the radiator cooling capacity there by 25%, and that's just basically because they've put some more serious fans in here. 1,000-watt fans versus the 850-watt in your regular Ford Ranger. And a feature that is really out of the box, I think, for any factory vehicle is the manual DPF regen. So in this vehicle, you can hit a button and manually control that DPF burn in your vehicle. Now that was done for fleets, but for regular four-wheel drivers, if you've been driving around town, we all know how quickly those systems can get blocked up. So to be able to manually do that burn and not have it get blocked up and go off to the dealer, it is just fantastic, and I think is a world first for the consumer 4x4 market. Now, if you are into towing, particularly heavy loads, you're going to love the features in this vehicle. Not only does it have that 4.5 tonne towing capacity, it's actually got a system called Smart Hitch, which is quite a broad reaching technology, but one of the features of it is that it actually can weigh what you are carrying in the back of the vehicle. We have onboard scales on all four wheels on this vehicle. So the Ranger will actually tell you if you are going over your gross vehicle mass with the vehicle. It'll send a reminder to you up there on the dash and say, hey, you better sort your load out because you've overdone it. It'll even tell you if your load on the back is unbalanced. How good is that for towing safety and for the big vans and rigs that we love to tow around Australia? But there's also a bunch of features that to me are really quite cool and unexpected. Inside, this vehicle just comes in the one specification, and it's got vinyl floors, which we know and love for four-wheel driving. It just works. You're not getting that carpet stinking after a water crossing or when you drape it in mud. It's got a 400-watt inverter in the back, so you can charge up your drone or your laptop while you're out bush. It's also got some upgraded wheel arch liners, and instead of being riveted in, they are screwed in. So little features like that have just sort of beefed up the durability of this vehicle to no end. They really have thought about the details. Anyone that's tried to actually modify a modern 4x4 cab chassis will really appreciate how hard it is to move the technology from those vehicles through to your modifications. If you're putting a canopy on the back, a tray, it's often difficult to move all those sensors. So what Ford have done is they've actually put in a driver assist technology bar. So that has got all of the right sensors in there. So it's got all your bird's eye cameras and your blind spot monitors and all that sort of stuff. And that is designed to integrate into just about anything that you want to put on the back of that ute. So you can retain your safety and all those features and not lose them when you go modifying your 4B.
In terms of engines, the Ford Ranger Super Duty will actually be running the same 3-litre turbo diesel engine that sits in your regular Ranger. However, it will be recalibrated, both the engine and the 10-speed transmission attached to it. And Ford tell us that they have also made a number of running changes to enhance the reliability of this engine.
Now with the next gen Ford Ranger, Ford decided to work very early on and collaborate with the aftermarket on the accessories that were going to be built for this vehicle. And that's exactly what they've done with this vehicle as well. So the Super Duty already, for example, has available at launch an ARB Summit Mark II bar with a 12,000 pound winch as opposed to a 10,000 pound that is available on your regular Ford Ranger. And a lot of other parts like a compressor to be actually mounted up there tucked in the tray with a specific mounting point, that has been included in this vehicle as well. But it's not just ARB. Ford has worked with a whole host of different companies to make sure that this vehicle can be accessorized, but not only that, to make sure that when you do accessorize the vehicle that you don't lose your warranty along the way, provided you use those parts that have been approved through that Ford Converter series. And that partnership between the accessory companies and Ford is known as the Ford Pro Converter. So that basically means that those accessories should really work well and be integrated and keep your warranty. And that's the important thing that four-wheel drivers and fleet managers really want to see. The Super Duty is available in just the one trim and two different body styles. So you've got the cab chassis and the style side ute. But in terms of colors, you've got 5 to choose from. You've got white, silver and black, but I really love this one here, traction green, and the seismic tan doesn't look half bad either. So that's what we know right now, but what we don't know is pretty important too. We don't know what the curb weight is, that is still to come. We don't know what the payload is as a result, and we certainly don't know the price. Ford say that they want to keep it competitive in the market, and if I had to guess, I would say that it will be under the ton mark, and who knows, I reckon she might come around the 95 mark. Not too sure, because this is a seriously heavy duty vehicle. But if you want even more details, go to mr4x4.com.au for the full story on the brand new Ranger Super Duty. I'm Pat Callanan. Keep the shiny side up.